Hello guys, Juice here. As you all know, PPTL is one of the tournament in the Philippines. PPTL stands for Philippine Pokémon Team League. In PPTL, we are using open sheet format. This means that both trainers knows the information of all the Pokémons of the opposite trainer, except for the IVs, EVs, and nature of the Pokémon. So let's see one of my matches. Enjoy guys! My opponent will be Xcyl, and his leads were Tornadoes and Urshifu, while I will be leading with Iron Hands and Dragonite. In the first turn, he decided to switch out his Urshifu and switch in his Iron Hands. We also decided to Terra our Pokemon. He decided to Terra his Tornadoes to Ghost type, probably of anticipating an extreme speed or fake out to his Tornadoes. Fortunately, I decided to Terra my Dragonite and use extreme speed to his Iron Hands. But my fake out does not affect his Tornadoes since it's a Ghost Terra. On the second turn, I decided to switch out my Dragonite because Iron Hands might use Drain Punch to my Terra normal Dragonite. So I switch into my Dusclops. Meanwhile, his Tornadoes use Tailwind to have speed control. As anticipated, he uses Drain Punch to my Dragonite that was replaced with my Dusclops, and that is a good switch on my side. While my Iron Hands use Drain Punch to his Iron Hands and gain some HP. On the third turn, he withdrew his Tornadoes and brought out his Among Us. His Iron Hands uses Volt Switch so that he can properly position his Pokemon. And he brought out his Tornadoes, which is a good switch on his side because my Iron Hands just used Drain Punch on that slot. But I successfully set up my Trick Room. On this turn, I used Will Always in anticipation of another switch out, but he let his Among Us stay. Thus, his Among Us was burned. Unfortunately, his Among Us is slower than my Iron Hands, therefore, he is much more faster inside Trick Room, and he was able to use Spore, making my Iron Hands fall asleep. His Tornadoes uses Blake Windstorm and hit both of my Pokemon, and causes my Iron Hands speed to decrease. I decided to switch out my Iron Hands because I don't want him to taking some damages while asleep and brought out my Blood Moon Ursaluna. I used Pain Split on his Tornadoes to deal some damages and gain some HP for my Dusclops. Unfortunately, he uses Spore on my Dusclops. Now I have two Pokemon sleeping on my team. His Tornadoes use Blake Windstorm to deal some damages to both of my Pokemons. Now his Tailwind is gone, and I have few more turns for my Trick Room. I need to plan carefully. To preserve my Trick Room setter, I withdraw my Dusclops and brought out my Iron Hands. I use Hyper Voice and dealt some damages to his Tornadoes, but his Among Us protected himself. Luckily, his Blake Windstorm just missed on both of my Pokemon, and that was a good for my team. He withdrew his Among Us on this turn because he knows that Among Us was his winning condition on our match and brought out his Iron Hands. Then he protected his Tornadoes to waste my Trick Room turns. Fortunately, I used Blood Moon on his Iron Hands and fainted. But my Trick Room turn ended. And my winning condition at this point was to able to set up my Trick Room so that my Blood Moon Ursaluna will attack first. So I decided to bring out my Dusclops, hoping that he will wake up on this turn, and protected my Blood Moon or Saluna. He decided to use Rain Dance on this turn, so at the back of my mind, his fourth Pokemon is an Urshifu. So my Dusclops is not yet awake on this turn. As anticipated, he withdrew his Tornadoes and brought out Urshifu. Fortunately, my Blood Moon Ursaluna attacked first, but it is not enough to KO his Among Us, which will make his Among Us successfully spore my Blood Moon Ursaluna. Now I have 3 Pokemon on my team who are all sleeping. He uses Surging Strikes and Pollen Puff to my Dusclops because he knows that I need Trick Room to win this battle. Fortunately, my Dusclops survives and he woke up. With this, I was able to set up my Trick Room. Now I was praying that my Blood Moon Ursaluna will wake up on this turn. His Among Us uses Rage Powder because he was anticipating that I'll be using Pain Split on his Urshifu to decrease his HP. But he used Surging Strikes to my Dusclops, which will KO him. Now I brought out my Dragonite. He uses Spore on my Dragonite, but my Blood Moon Ursaluna just woke up and uses Hyper Voice that will KO his Among Us. In return, he uses Surging Strikes to my Blood Moon Ursaluna and KO my Pokemon. Now both of us have only 2 Pokemons left, but both of my Pokemons are still sleeping. On this turn, he uses Rain Dance to make sure Surging Strikes will deal more damage. He uses Surging Strikes to my Iron Hands, but my Iron Hands is bulky, therefore he survives in that turn. Fortunately, my Iron Hands finally woke up and uses Wild Charge, which will KO his Urshifu. To my surprise, my Dragonite also woke up and uses Outrage and will KO his Tornadoes. So that's it guys. This is the most intense match that I had. Only one move and it will cost you a defeat, which happened to me in the second and third round. But this was a great and intense matchup. Hats off to Xcyl in our match. He won with 2-1 score. Hope you enjoy this intense and long battle. So tune in guys for more VGC battles, especially my PPTL matches. So juice up and be juicy. Bye guys.